Hi, I'm Wes Hampshire and welcome to my 2019 shop tour. So I built this shop a year ago all by myself. I did everything except for the concrete work. I hired that out because I wanted that to be perfectly flat and smooth. I didn't want to screw that up because if you screw up concrete work, you have to live with it forever. It's a pole frame construction, which is poles in the ground and there's no foundation, so it sits on a concrete pad in the ground that's 4 inches thick, 18 inches diameter. It's 4 feet down below the frost line, and it's got 6x6 posts. I believe there was 12 of them in the ground holding this whole structure up. It has a 412 pitch on it. So it might be kind of hard to see in the camera right now, but I installed OSB plywood on the walls and the ceiling of this shop. I painted the walls white and I left the ceiling a natural color. I found that I actually like it that way, and also I was just too lazy to paint my ceiling. Alright, so enough talking and let me bring you into the shop so I can show you everything. So I'm just going to take you down the side here of my shop where I have a lot of my tools just stored to the side, and then I pull them out as I need them, and I hook the dust collection up to them also when I need them. I just find it gives me a lot more space in here because I also like to sometimes pull my vehicles in to clean them if I need to and back them out. And it's nice just to have the open space rather than having my tools just stationary all the time. And honestly, all these tools, I don't use them all the time, like my table saw, my miter saw that I leave set up. So I'm just going to start down the line and show you each tool. Okay, so here I have a drum sander. It's a 16 by 32 and it's a Performax. Yeah, I really like it. It works well. I don't actually use it a whole lot, but I think if I was to ever get into making like end grain cutting boards or something like that, I would definitely get a good use out of this. And the next in line, I have a sandblaster, which I also have never used actually. I inherited it from my dad. And then beside it, I have my DeWalt planer. I really like this planer. It works great. It's got 3 knives in it, 13 inches wide. It's an awesome planer. Although I am having a problem with it. It does not like to turn on. What I have to do is I have to take this cover off, jam the safety switch right here, smack the motor with a mallet, and then it turns on. So I'm wondering if I need new brushes or a new motor. So if you guys have had this experience before, let me know in the comments, and I really like to come up with a fix for this. And then beside that, I have my General International 6-inch joiner. I really like this. It works well. I recently just got all the rust off the top of it and installed new knives in it, and that was quite the chore. That almost took me half a day just to clean up all the rust and get the new knives set. And then beside that, I have a Craftex dust collector. It's just a little 1-horse. I like to upgrade to a bigger unit someday, but this is good enough right now. It only runs 1 machine at a time. So I actually have it running to my table saw, and then I have a line that runs over to my miter saw station. So it's got a line that runs all the way through underneath, and it comes up and then it sucks any dust that falls in behind, and that works quite well. And then obviously there's a blast gate here, and then there's one down there. Ideally what I should have done was install a blast gate right here for that one so that I didn't have to always run back and forth to open and close them. And then I have a Trademaster, let me just focus, Trademaster drill press. It's a floor model. I really like that. It's nice and heavy duty, and the best part too, that it has a nice bright light that you can turn on. So I really like that for filming. And then beside that, we have a spindle sander. It's a Craftex. It's a Craftex from Busy Bee as well. And that's a nice little tool to have, just kicking around if you got those little curves to sand. So if you ever need one, I recommend you get one. And then you guys might have seen this in some of my past videos. It's a horizontal mortising machine. It's based off Mateus Wandel's. I just have a DeWalt router in there that I just leave in there with a 1/2 inch upcut spiral bit, I think they're called. It ejects the bits out as you're working with it. So and it works well. I'm really happy with it. Beside that, I have a Tool X 14-inch bandsaw. And this works well too, but I like to someday upgrade to a much bigger one so I can do much bigger resawing and stuff like that. But this right now, this does the trick. And then have just some lumber storage there with my, that's where my natural gas comes in, and my shut off for my, let's see here, for my radiant tube heater. And let me tell you, last winter, this thing, it got this shop hot. I had to turn it down. I kept my shop consistently at 10 degrees Celsius. For you Americans, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. You would have to do the math. But it kept it nice and toasty in here. It was 10 degrees, I find, is a nice working temperature. So, right here on my miter saw station, I have one of these rigid oscillating belt sander thingamajigs. I really like it. It works well. So on my back wall of my shop, I have my miter saw station. It's really long. I have from that side of the blade to the end here, I have 8 feet. And then from the other side over, I believe I have 6 feet. And then I installed a T-track in the top here with a knob for an adjustable stop so you can make repeatable cuts. That is really nice to have. So this whole thing is made from Baltic birch plywood, the whole carcass and everything, except for the top and the drawer doors and the drawer fronts are all MDF that I have coated with 3 coats of water-based polyurethane. I think the contrast between the MDF and the birch is really nice. I really like that. Some of you guys might have seen this video. I'll leave a link in the description to it, but how I made these doors. It's a tongue and groove. Yeah, I made it from Baltic birch plywood with a tongue and groove. And it just has a plexiglass front in it. So in my miter saw station, I am using a 12-inch dual bevel miter saw. Now, if you're ever shopping for a miter saw from DeWalt, make sure you get the one with the XPS on it, which means cross-cut positioning system. So what that is a light that's mounted up here that casts a shadow over your blade, and it shows you exactly where that blade is going to cut. I believe that this is actually more accurate than a laser. I'll show you here. So you turn the light on and you drop the saw down, and you can see there, that is your cut line. It's so simple, way better than laser. It doesn't matter what blade you put in, it'll always be accurate. Then over on this wall here, I have my clamp racks. I have a lot of pipe clamps and some quick clamps, and yeah, and I did a French cleat wall, which I need to make more tool holders. I just have stuff sitting in right now in the cleats. And I made a little sandpaper organizer there for my orbital sander. So off the wall here, I have a maple workbench. It's got to be 8 feet long and like 32 inches wide, and it's about 36 inches tall in height, which is a really nice height for me. I'm 6'2", so I find that a comfortable height to have. This workbench actually came out of a local high school in town that got torn down many years ago, and my dad actually managed to scoop this bench out of it before it got torn down, and now I inherited it and it's mine, and it's a really nice bench. Although it has a bit of a crown in it now, I have to flatten it, so that might be another video. That's going to be a chore. I'm thinking about making a router sled to go back and forth to flatten it. I think that might be the quickest and easiest way to do it. And then here I have this cool little organizer thing that came from my grandfather. I have it all organized with screws and nails and stuff, and I have nuts and bolts, driver bits, drill bits. I have my staplers, glue gun stuff, and everything. It's all organized. It's really nice to stay organized. Helps to, when you have everything organized, it makes it easier to be efficient in what you're doing. And then here I like it to call my metalworking station. I have a bench grinder. I have a little 110 welder, angle grinder, and then here I just keep all like my mechanics stuff, tools and things like that. The stuff that's not woodworking related, and the stuff that I don't use very often, like screwdrivers and whatnot. And then here is my lumber storage. So this lumber cart I built off the plans that I got from the Wood Whisperer. It's a really nice design. I like it because it hinges there and you can swing it out and you can pull your plywood in and out. And actually that's a really good idea, because if you didn't have it on a hinge system, you would have to keep this here all empty for at least 8 feet in order to slide your lumber out. So I thought that was a really great idea to have it on a hinge system so you could swing it out, pull your lumber out when you need it. In Mark's video, he actually had it hinged there and swing out there, and I think his idea for that was you open up your garage door and you can slide your wood in and then slide it in closed. But where I live, the winters can be very cold, and the summers can get very hot. And I didn't want to have to open up my door, lose all my heat, or lose all my cool air just to slide a sheet of plywood out. So I decided to hinge it there and have it swing out this way. That way I can keep my doors closed. And then my lumber rack is actually just aluminum balusters that I drilled in a 5-degree angle, I believe, to hold all my lumber. And I stole this idea from Jay Bates. He did this in his shop, and it's actually a really cheap way to make a lumber rack that is really strong and sturdy. Like this bottom shelf here is all oak, and it's probably got to be a few hundred pounds sitting on that right now, and it's taking it no problem. I actually scored all of this wood at an estate auction. There was a lawyer that was a woodworker who passed away, and he just had this collection of wood in his basement, and I scored all of it for 170 bucks. Can you believe that? So what I have here on the first shelf there is oak, maple, quarter sawn oak, I have cherry, and then aromatic cedar. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool. I might make a hope chest with that stuff, or build a new dresser for myself and then use the cedar for the drawers. I think that'll be really cool. And then the heart of my shop, my table saw. It is a King Industrial 10-inch cabinet saw. It's a 2 horsepower, and it has a 52-inch fence on it. If you have the space in your shop for a 52-inch fence, get it. You'll never regret it. I have used it so many times. I've even had it maxed out. It's awesome to have. And then I have an outfeed table that I built. It's a little dusty, but it's also built like my miter saw station. It is built from Baltic birch plywood with MDF for the top and the door fronts. And I was experimenting making handles because I thought maybe I would like these for my miter saw station, but I don't. I find them actually kind of ugly, and I might actually go buy those handles to replace them with that, but we'll see. I might not, probably not. It's kind of hidden, you don't see it when you first walk in, so it's not a problem. So that concludes my shop tour. I was going to wait till I had my shop all done, everything in place, where I was going to want it before I did this shop tour, but then I thought about it and I kind of realized that it's never going to be done. It's never going to be the way I want it. It's always going to be changing. So I thought, heck with it. Let's just make a shop tour video, and it'd be kind of cool too to reflect back someday. I'll make changes and do another shop tour, and it'd be kind of cool to mosquitoes are bad out here. And it'd be kind of cool to reflect back on the video and see what my shop used to look like and how it's evolved and the tools that I've gotten and so on. If you guys like this video and you want to see more like it, I encourage you guys to subscribe if you haven't done so, and please hit the notification bell so that you never miss a new episode, and share this with all your friends. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one.